Hey, what's up? I'm Jake, and I suck at Kubernetes. Today we're going to be upgrading our minikube cluster, which in turn is going to upgrade Kubernetes. We're going to upgrade the Kubernetes CLI, and we're going to check and make sure our versions are good to go. And then I'm going to upgrade how much CPU memory I use in my cluster, because I got some extra memory in my gaming PC, so we'll be able to give Kubernetes a little bit more resources to play with. And then we're going to go through our daily warm up and just check our pods, our deployments, and our services and make sure that everything's been cleaned up. And that every day I go through this exercise and make sure that my environment is clean and there's nothing left over from the day before. So if you're running Windows, pretty much everything you need to do is in PowerShell. So if you open PowerShell uh, as an administrator, first thing you're going to want to do actually is make sure that your Kubernetes cluster is stopped. So just run a minikube stop. I actually deleted my cluster, so there's no server there for it to stop. You can delete yours if you want to. If not, you can upgrade it in place. So first up, we're going to do Chaco upgrade minikube. All right, so I already upgraded mine, but you'll want to upgrade to the latest version with that command. That's also going to upgrade Kubernetes for you inside of the minikube cluster. So the next thing you're going to want to do is upgrade the CLI. Chaco upgrade Kubernetes-CLI. If you try to upgrade kubectl, it's not going to be able to find that package. So you need to make sure you're upgrading Kubernetes-CLI. Now your CLI is up to date and your Kubernetes cluster and minikube version are up to date. If you get too far apart between upgrading your Kubernetes CLI, Kubernetes itself, or even just minikube, it's going to warn you and tell you there may be incompatibility issues. So you always want to make sure you're upgrading your cluster. It's just good practice. So everything's been upgraded and we're ready to start. Okay, so now we want to start our Kubernetes cluster, but this time I'm going to tell it exactly how many CPUs and exactly how much memory to use. Here we go. Minikube start dash dash CPUs equals 4 dash dash memory equals 16,384. That looks good. Okay, since we got everything upgraded, you can see it started very cleanly. And now I have it running with 4 CPUs and 16 gigs of RAM. Let's go through our daily warm up. So basically we need to list all the pods for the namespaces, the deployments, and the services. So if I do a kubectl get pods, that lists the default pods in the default namespace. If you do a dash capital A, it lists all namespaces. That's just a shortcut. And if you're doing, from what I've heard, if you're doing the Kubernetes certification during the exam, you want to have as many shortcuts as possible. So let's check our deployments. Deployments. We can see we have one deployment in all the namespaces. It's in the kube system namespace for core DNS. Okay, so I don't have any leftover deployments. I just created this cluster, so there shouldn't be any resources in here. And lastly, we're going to check services, and there's a shortcut for that too. SVC dash capital A. We have 2 services. Both are the cluster IP type, but one is in the default namespace for Kubernetes, and the other is in the kube system namespace for kubedns. So that's it. So we've gone through our warm up, and we did all of our upgrades, and we're ready to go, and we're ready to start our day. So for me, this is how a warm up would look like. From this point forward, I would pick whatever day it is. So today is Sunday, and Sunday is where I would repeat the day what I had the most difficulty with. I haven't started this yet, so I can't really pick a day. But if I were to pick Monday, for example, it would be a 20-minute exercise on working with pods and deployments, where I might actually write some pod definition files or some kind of manifest file and deploy some things in Kubernetes, tear it all down, stuff like that. So I'm not going to do that today because I still have some things I need to do. But I do think I might work on the Python application a little bit. So yeah, there you go. If you have any questions, my name is Jake, and I suck at Kubernetes.